Each year, we are required by law to train all employees regarding the rights and responsibilities of working for Weymouth Public Schools. In previous years, we have provided these trainings during your first staff meeting with the principal of your building. We have chosen to commit them to video in order to provide consistency of training, to allow you to watch them when convenient, and to ensure that they are easily accessible as a resource reference.
McKinney Vento Homeless Assistance Act, Weymouth Public Schools. How many children and youth experience homelessness? 1.35 million children. 10% of all children living in poverty. Over 40% of all children who are homeless are under the age of 5. Causes of homelessness. Some of the causes of homelessness are lack of affordable housing, deep poverty, health problems, domestic violence, natural and other disasters, abuse and neglect. Barriers to education for homeless children and youth. Enrollment requirements, such as school records, immunizations, proof of residence, and guardianship. High mobility resulting in lack of school stability and educational continuity. Lack of access to programs, lack of transportation, lack of school supplies, clothing, etc. Poor health, fatigue, hunger, prejudice, and misunderstanding. McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act was reauthorized in 2002 by the No Child Left Behind Act. Some of the main themes that are addressed by this act are school stability, school access, support for academic success, child-centered, with best interest decision-making. Eligibility. Who is covered by the McKinney-Vento Act? Children who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Sharing the housing of others due to a loss of housing, economic hardship, or similar reason. Living in motels, hotels, trailer parks, camping grounds due to lack of adequate alternative accommodations. Living in emergency or transitional shelters. Abandoned in hospitals. Children awaiting foster care placement. Families living in a public or private place not designed for humans to live. Living in cars, parks, abandoned buildings, bus or train stations, etc. Migratory children living in above circumstances. Local homeless educational liaisons. Every LEA must designate a liaison for students in homeless situations. Their responsibilities ensure that children and youth in homeless situations are identified. They are responsible to ensure that homeless students enroll in and have full and equal opportunity to succeed in school. They link with educational services, including preschool and health services. They inform parents, guardians, or youth of educational and parent involvement opportunities. Post public notices of educational rights. Resolve disputes. Inform parents, guardians, or youth of transportation services, including the school of origin. Identification strategies. What are some ways to identify the homeless in our community? Provide awareness activities for school staff, registrars, secretaries, counselors, school workers, nurses, teachers, bus drivers, administrators, etc. Coordinate with community service agencies such as shelters, soup kitchens, drop-in centers, welfare, and housing agencies, and also public health departments. Provide outreach materials and posters where there is a frequent influx of low-income families and youth in high-risk situations, including motels and campgrounds. Educate school staff about warning signs that may indicate an enrolled child or youth may be experiencing homelessness. Make special efforts to identify preschool children, including asking about the siblings of school-age children. Develop relationships with truancy officers and/or attendance officers. Use enrollment and withdrawal forms to inquire about living situations. Have students draw or write about where they live. Avoid using the word homeless in initial contacts with school personnel, families, or youth. School stability. Key provisions in this area are children and youth experiencing homelessness can stay in their school of origin or enroll in any public school that students living in the same attendance area are eligible to attend, according to their best interest. School of origin is the school attended when permanently housed or in which last enrolled. Best interest. Keep homeless students in their schools of origin to the extent feasible, unless it is against the parents' or guardians' wishes. School selection. Students can stay in their school of origin the entire time they are homeless and until the end of any academic year in which they move into permanent housing. If a student becomes homeless in between academic years, he or she may continue in the school of origin for the following academic year. If a student is sent to a school other than that requested by a parent or guardian, the district must provide a written explanation to the parent or guardian of its decision and the right to appeal. Feasibility. What is reasonable? U.S. Department of Education has a sample criteria. Continuity of instruction. What is the age of the child or youth? Safety of the child or youth. Length of stay at the shelter. Likely area where family will find permanent housing. Students' need for special instructional programs. Impact of commute on education. School placement of siblings, and time remaining in the school year. Local educational agencies must provide students experiencing homelessness transportation. They must provide this transportation to and from their school of origin at a parent's or guardian's request, or at the liaison's request for unaccompanied youth. If the student's temporary residence and the school of origin are in the same LEA, that LEA must provide or arrange transportation. If the student is living outside of the school of the origin's local educational agency, the LEA where the student is living and the school of origin's LEA must determine how to divide the responsibility and share the cost, or they must share the cost equally. In addition to providing transportation to the school of origin, local educational agencies must provide students in homeless situations with transportation services comparable to those provided to other students. School districts must eliminate barriers to the school enrollment and retention of students experiencing homelessness, including transportation barriers. Enrollment. Key provisions in this area. Children and youth in homeless situations can stay in their school of origin to the extent feasible, or enroll in any public school that students living in the same attendance area are eligible to attend. The terms enroll and enrollment include attending classes and participating fully in school activities. Children and youth have the right to enroll in school immediately, even if they do not have required documents, such as school records, medical records, proof of residency, or other documents. If a student does not have immunizations or medical records, the liaison must immediately assist in obtaining them, and the student must be enrolled in the interim. Enrolling schools must obtain school records from the previous school, and students must be enrolled in schools while records are obtained. Schools must maintain records for students who are homeless so they are available quickly. Federal law supersedes state and local laws where there is a conflict. U.S. Constitution, Article 6. SEAs and LEAs must develop, review, and revise policies to remove barriers to the enrollment and retention of children and youth in homeless situations. Resolution of disputes. Every state must establish dispute resolution procedures. When a dispute over enrollment arises, the student must be admitted immediately to the school of choice while the dispute is being resolved. Liaisons must ensure unaccompanied youth are enrolled immediately while the dispute is being resolved. Whenever a dispute arises, the parent or guardian must be provided with a written explanation of the school's decision, including the right to appeal. The school must refer the child, youth, parent, or guardian to the liaison to carry out the dispute resolution process as expeditiously as possible. Documentation should be kept for all local liaison interventions with parent, not just formal disputes. Homeless unaccompanied youth. This is youth who meet the definition of homeless and are not in the physical custody of a parent or guardian. Liaisons must help unaccompanied youth choose and enroll in school after considering the youth's wishes and inform the youth of his or her appeal process. School personnel must be made aware of the specific needs of runaway and homeless youth. Preschool-aged children. Liaisons must ensure that families and children have access to Head Start, Even Start, and other public preschool programs administered by the local education agency. State plans must describe procedures that ensure that homeless children have access to public preschool programs. U.S. Head Start issued a memo in 1992 describing how Head Start grantees should collaborate and adjust their programs to serve homeless children. This memo remains in effect, pending changes to the Head Start Act. Access to services. Students who experience homelessness must have access to educational services for which they are eligible, including special education programs for English learners, gifted and talented programs, vocational tech programs, and school nutrition programs. Undocumented children and youth have the same right to attend public school as U.S. citizens and are covered by the McKinney Vento Act to the same extent as other children and youth. USDA policy permits liaisons and shelter directors to obtain free school meals for students by providing a list of names of students experiencing homelessness with effective dates. The 2004 reauthorization of IDEA includes amendments that reinforce timely assessment, inclusion, and continuity of services for homeless children and youth who have disabilities. Segregation. States are prohibited from segregating homeless students in separate schools, separate programs within schools, or separate settings within schools. SEAs and LEAs must adopt policies and practices to ensure that homeless children and youth are not segregated or stigmatized on basis of their status as homeless. Services provided with McKinney Vento funds must not replace the regular academic program and must be designed to expand upon or improve services provided as part of the school's regular academic program. A child or a youth who is homeless and is attending any school in the district is automatically eligible for Title I-A services. LEAs must reserve or set aside funds as necessary to provide services comparable to those provided to children in Title I-A schools to serve homeless children who do not attend participating schools, including providing educational support services to children in shelters and other locations where homeless children may live. Services for homeless students in both Title I and non-Title I schools, comparable to those provided to non-homeless students in Title I schools, are services that need to be provided. Services that are not ordinarily provided to other Title I students and that are not available from other sources are also services entitled to homeless students. For further information regarding the McKinney-Vento Act or homeless students, please contact a school counselor, school psychologist, school administrator, or the Assistant Director of Student Support Services, and also the McKinney-Vento Liaison, Patricia Hayes, at 781-335-1460, extension 20334. Thank you.